Hello, everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call. It was kind of unexpected, sort of. At the end of every December, they push patches out really early, but as most people know, Star Citizen 3.12 has not been in testing for very long. So I wasn't expecting to see it this weekend. Maybe late last night, we would have seen it go to a first wave PTU, is what my expectations were. If we were going to talk about this like weeks ago, but we have it now. It is open to everybody, and I'm going to make a really bold claim. I think this is the best patch on paper that they've ever released. And I can't say that for any patch that we've gotten this year. So, what do we have? In the last year, we've had 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So actually, all through 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, we've carried over our money. There's been no wipe. We don't know whether or not there'll be a wipe in 3.12 or not. I keep seeing people mention it, but I don't think that there's any wipe planned. I feel like they would be pretty open with that if they were planning on doing it. So, it is an open PTU. It's not live yet. I might have said it's live. It's an open PTU. That means everybody can play it, and it is strong. This is the first time we've ever seen something like progression with missions in the game. Progression with mission givers. There is a complete mining rebalance. Mining is the only proper game loop in the game, and in my opinion, and they have completely rebalanced it to make it arguably 10 times better than it's ever been. You can solo mine more things of value now, but there are things that you absolutely need friends to join in to be like to play the game. It's sick. So I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud of the game. I'm really excited for the next year's future. I think playing 3.11, I was a little worried about this year of whether or not 3.12 could provide anything that was gonna make Star Citizen exciting in the next year. So we'll see. But those are my thoughts. I think it's the best patch we've had. I'm really excited to play it in live. I'm really excited to do another hardcore challenge type thing on Twitch and hopefully bringing it to YouTube as well. So we'll see. But without further ado, let's bring in the doc, Dr. Introverticius. There we go. I got it right now. What's up, man?
Good. I'm good.
So what are your thoughts on 3.12 so far? Obviously, it's just in the PTU, but
I think it's the best patch I've had all this year.
Yeah.
On paper.
Did you play it at all? Did you just join Star Citizen this year?
I've played it some. Yes, at the start of the year.
Okay. So you didn't experience the hell, and you never played 3.4. I think there's like arguments that 3.4 might have been the best one, because there was a time where our frames were like 20, and then they brought OCS in, and it made it like a lot better.
I've heard the stories. I've spoken to people about it.
Yeah, I'm seeing it in Twitch chat too. There's like an argument that 3.7 was really good too, but there was no persistence. So 3.7 wasn't really that good. But yeah. So what do you like about it?
It's the new refining stuff that's cool. I haven't had that happen yet, but it's cool to see it happen.
Yeah, so you said you haven't done a lot with it, but you like,
None,
I guess, the design of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the fact that you can take something like, I don't know, titanium, which is like pretty easy to find, or aluminum, and mine a bunch of it, and then it essentially becomes cargo hauling without the risk of spending the money on it, I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a cool thing to. Yeah, it's cool to see it.
Yeah, for sure. What about like some of the stuff that we were doing today? Did you do any of the bounty missions or any of the Idris stuff yet, or have you just been kind of mining?
I've seen the like the Idris stuff. I haven't like had it happen, but I'm so excited to see an Idris in game.
Yeah.
That'll be like the highlight.
What about the bounty stuff? I think for me the bounty stuff is the most exciting. Not because it's like, oh, bounties, like, wow, all right, I gain a little bit more money. It's eventually going to get kind of like boring, I think. But what it means is the game is communicating with this service that tracks that's tracking your progress, and you can do this with literally anything, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, what do you expect to see? How about this as a question for 312? It's more of a question for like 313 and beyond. What's next for that? Because that's why, for me, that's why 312 is so great. Is you can imagine about what's next, and it is a possibility instead of just like this total fucking pipe dream that is seemingly impossible.
For 313, the Hercules is a ship, but aside from ships, like,
I mean, from progression,
maybe,
like delivery missions.
Yeah, and you get more. Like, it's like as you do more, you get like harder stuff to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you get more like perks and stuff like that. But I don't know, because I don't like to think like it's like ahead, because sometimes I'll end up being like,
oh yeah, I'm possibly shooting myself in the foot here because I am full on like Joe Rune levels of hype right now, and it's probably gonna bite me in the ass. But I am full on like Kool-Aid drinking now after this patch. I've been begging. It basically comes down to like I've been begging for something like these progression type missions since 3.0 came out. You know, so we're talking about like years waiting for this specific thing, and when it finally gets put in, it's, you know, obviously I'm going to be excited about it.
It's exciting. It's just exciting. It's exciting to like have it move ahead more, and they're taking all these strides, and like, you know,
I get the vibe.
Has issues.
I get the vibe that Doc is like, you know, I felt like calling in because initially Mike didn't have a lot of people to talk to, and now Mike's keeping me from mining. Doc's like, man, I really just would rather play the game than be here right now.
Yeah, because I had issues earlier. Like, I couldn't scan asteroids.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, I've had that too.
Did you think about it?
So, from the mining perspective, have you taken the prospector out?
Yeah, but like I couldn't scan anything.
Okay, so you've only taken it out once and it hasn't worked properly.
Yeah, but I'm gonna take it out like again in a bit.
Oh shit! I never switched scenes. I'm sorry. We've just been talking on the starting screen the whole time. Yeah. So I don't know. It's got potential. It's got potential.
It has that potential.
Yeah.
Like if they fix the pips issue.
That's the big one. I guess for people that don't know, that are checking out, you know, maybe that's something like with what the title that I do is like, hey, I think this is a really exciting patch. Well, one of the problems is that there are no pips for any, like if you lock on to anything, there are no pips. So back in 3.11, back in 3.11, the turrets were broken at the ground facilities, and you didn't have any pips to fire at them, so you had to kind of guess where to fire, and that is the case for everything in the game now. So PvP is completely dead. You cannot PvP this way, and PvE is kind of convoluted and annoying.
Because you have to guess now.
But the assumption is that all hands should be on deck to get that back on, and then the patch should be relatively good from that standpoint. But if they deliver without that, that's
going to be hell.
It's dead. Like kill 312, it's over. It's bad. But if they deliver with it, I think it's the best patch we've had all year.
Yeah.
All right, Doc. Should I let you go so you can play?
Yeah.
All right, man.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Later, brother. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing for me where if that is the only bug that we have, then it's not the end of the world. Because hopefully that bug is something that we can resolve. But let's move on to the next caller. We got Bad Words up in line here. Bad Words, what's up, man? How you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning. So,
all right, well, I'll say,
to
answer your question, this patch is good. It's not 3.4.
No. Okay.
I would say 3.4 is well, first off, it was probably the smoothest, most stable patch in their history since 3.0 started. It had the most content, and the big thing, the one major bug was the fun one with the weapon stacking.
Can you I don't even remember that one. What was the weapon stacking?
3.4 was, remember that was the one where you could...
you could put like 100 weapons on one thing?
Yeah, right? On one ship, yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So people, it turned into, first it was like, but then once people started playing around with it and having fun with Jumptown and stuff, it became a fun bug, At least people weren't griefing with it. People were just more going to Jumptown and actually using it amongst people who actually wanted to fight with it,
Here's why I disagree with you. Because all of 3.4 was emergent gameplay. The patch wasn't good necessarily intentionally. The patch was good because we made it good. In this case, this is the first time CIG has put out a patch and intentionally made it good. Like, recognized the feedback, recognized that this should be a priority finally, made it a priority, and then the game is actually like... It doesn't require other people to be fun. It can be soloed and be enjoyable.
I would dispute that to an extent, just because remember 3.4 was also the same well, it was 3.3, but that was that same Christmas patch that brought the hammerhead in. That was also when you had like if you were a subscriber, you got the free hammerhead. So there was like 100 hammerheads just literally on the server, just like pounding it, and it was still stable.
But what's the point? Why? Like what was so like there was no reason to use it. The reasons to use it actually exist now.
Well, you had that. You had the 600. Was the 600i in that patch too? I think it was.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of larger ships. There was a lot of, again, it was them deliver. It was almost I would say 3.4 with all the improvements versus 3.3 and all the previous 3 point whatevers. It was definitely a Christmas present. Just like this one, I would say is a Christmas present. That one was also a Christmas present.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I just think for me, this is like, yeah, I think you are probably more in tune with like the multiplayer aspects of the game, where me, I'm so much more involved in like, all right, what does the game want me to do? And like, I don't know. I've just been paying attention to this project forever. And when you look at it and they're finally developing the actual, like, quote unquote game stuff, it makes it more exciting for me than anything. Where everything in 3.4, I didn't see them moving in a direction towards a game. I thought the main thing was that like 335, we had our first planet, we had object container streaming, frame rates were good. The game, like it was like the first time you ever saw an HD TV, right? From like an old kind of 4x3 like crappy TV. And it was just like, wow, you know, everything looks good, it's cool, it's smoother, but in terms of logging in and having something to do when you log into a game, like what makes a great game is you log into the game and you have a list of things that you need to accomplish, and that list of things is going to take longer than you have time to play that day. This is the first patch that does that.
That's true, but also compounded again when you're talking about you're talking about just yourself and having that frustration. Imagine some of us who have that group trying to pull that group together. You know, let's just take mining. You know, even like even this Eardris, if you've done an Eardris run yet with people, that's like 20 minutes of organizing to get people to show up at the right place at the right time. You know, it's still that frustrating point. But you know, what's worse is like let's say it was just mining. Let's say you went with like your 3 friends go mining. When you had that crash, it compounded the frustration times 3 because now you've spent all that time getting everything prepped. I'm happy they focused this on the multiplayer aspect because I think that was devastating. You couldn't you know, there's one thing you couldn't trade because of 30K. It's a whole nother thing if you're trying to trade with a full ship and have defenders and stuff and then 30K.
Yeah.
And I think that was long overdue. This patch was for those people who are like, I want to bring a friend. I can't because I feel like I'm going to let them down or the server's going to let them down midway and it's not my fault.
Yeah. I think what's even cooler is all the quote unquote kind of like crappy patches that we've had this year led to this patch being so good.
I think they
a lot of this stuff wouldn't work right if it wasn't for all those little things.
Yeah, it's definitely a accumulation of a lot of trial and error, and it looks like a lot of fixes that they've been trying to work on finally paid off all at once.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, it was kind of like I think also the fact that you like suffered throughout the entire year, and then now there's something that appears to be promising. Yeah,
well, let me tell you my personal frustrations before this.
Oh, DMCA, no, I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry. My personal frustrations were like in 3.11, the Moby Glass bug was getting me with armor. I had to do character resets 3-4 times in 3.11. Mm-hmm. That was devastating to me. You know, it's like you couldn't do anything and then suddenly your Moby Glass is gone. And it's like, well, just reset your character and wait an hour.
Yeah.
You know? You know, the problem was also 3.11, the bug surrounding everything else had turned Star Citizen into Eve mining because that was the only stable thing left. You couldn't trade, you couldn't do much else without a big problem, except for mine, you know?
Yeah, and I would argue that it's not even... That wasn't even stable because there were so many 30Ks in 3.11 that, like, I mined for 3 days and lost money. 3 full days, like 12 hours, lost money.
That said, I think also introducing the rock before really, you know, fixing the ship to ground interactions. I think it's good for testing it. I think that it made people realize, you know, that there are not enough ships that can load a vehicle yet.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Even the Connie, you would thought the Connie should have been a no-brainer for this because of that lifting mechanism. It's like it just doesn't seem to work, you know?
Yeah, it's disastrous. Any lift right now is scary. Like, even if you're just a regular person on it and you just fall through it sometime, like, I don't know, man. Those are dangerous.
But I'll also say that CIG did build 3.11 to add disappointment because you had AIE, you had the Nomad, the 2 new ships that weren't up to muster because of the gas guzzling, they almost rigged it against them. It's amazing that once again they made billions of dollars on this, but
billions. But yeah,
I feel they made more money than they should have for what they were delivering and what people were getting out of it right now.
Of course.
So
let me ask you this though: if you do end up playing 312, I don't know if you've played it yet or not. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Well, I've been doing the bounty hunter track.
Okay.
I'll try. I kind of broke my thoughts in, so I'll talk more about that in the pips and stuff.
Sure.
I like the rep system.
Mm-hmm.
I still feel like there's certain things CIG knows about that they could work around with, like the constant bounty hunter missions to take you to those areas with the big giant meteor asteroid in the middle that causes clipping issues, and why is that still at how many? That's been a 2.8 issue. At what point do you say I'm going to need to pull that damn asteroid out of there till we figure it out?
True. I mean, do you die from it ever?
I've died. I had my the second the $1,000 certification, the 1,001. That's like the second one.
Yeah.
And I think it put me quantum me into the asteroid. I fought the guy who spawned also inside the asteroid, and then I died hitting the asteroid wall after I completed the mission, because of course when you're in it you don't see. You can see, you don't realize you're in it until you move away, and then you slam up against the inside wall of it.
Yeah.
So,
true.
Again, why is it there? It's too big for the combat zone, and they still center the thing in the combat zone, which is really the core problem. And again, this is something that at what point do you realize that I can't imagine the fix on that being so tremendous, And clearly, from the elevator issue, it's clear that they could just pop some asset out and be done with it. There are not that many asteroid fields in this game,
True. Have you done any mining or anything? Do you have any thoughts on the refining stuff? Or are you just tired of hearing about mining and refining? I imagine there's a big part of this community that is just like, mining again, guys? Like, come on.
Well, I'll say this about the refining. I did a job where, if you don't accept all the items I took a prospector out.
Okay.
And if you use the refining, I'll say this, I'm happy they still let you do the raw sell, which is nice.
Yeah.
So that you don't have to engage in refining in the timetables. I do find there is a problem with if you don't, having those clicks of choosing what you want to refine is a moot point, because you just lose what you don't click. So if you don't click anything, then whatever you don't click, it just goes into oblivion. You just lose it. So they need to work on that.
I actually like that, because I don't think, I think the whole point of how it should work is it's always been called mixed mining whenever you've mined. So it's all this dirt, inert material, and the actual stuff that you like all in a bag, right? So if you want to refine certain things, that process, I guess, is different for others, and it burns off the other stuff. So it's not disappearing into oblivion, it's part of the refining process. And I think it makes sense.
I would disagree, just because the idea that
how, though?
You can set up the multiple projects, that the idea is that you set certain cheap stuff for a quick mine and certain more expensive stuff you set for the hour, half, 4 hour mine. And so
sure, but I think
just, once you set the one job, shouldn't just say, well, the other stuff doesn't matter, we'll just throw it into oblivion. It should just be able to
I think you just want your cake and eat it too, and I don't think that everything should be that simple and easy. I think if you're going to do a refining job, you choose the process and it takes a long time, or it doesn't. And I think I get what you're saying, but essentially what you're asking for is before you ever refine or before you ever do anything, that your ship essentially is doing the separation process, which is basically what refining is.
But it's not your ship. It's the refinery that's doing it at that point.
Okay.
It just happens to be in your ship. You're kind of implying that the prospector is doing this. No, the prospector's thrown into the chute. The mining pace is like, okay, here's that shit. What do you want to do with it? The idea that you can't say do this and this and this and this for something that takes that long in an elevator to get to, should be like. No, maybe I don't know if it's a bug or not. Again, the problem is like everything else, we don't know if it is supposed to happen or if it's an oversight until something changes.
Yeah, it's true.
So again, I feel like the logical thing is this is still in your inventory until it isn't, or until you decide what to do with it. There shouldn't be a point where it's like discard automatically, because remember, the way they did refining is a time sink purely, because what they did is they cut the profit by 50% so that you get that return back if you use the refinery. So they didn't really add anything. All they did was create a time sink for the same profits that you had in 3.11.
Yeah, that was the one thing that I haven't tested yet. Is it confirmed like 100% that everything is cut in half?
Well, yeah, I think it was literally in the patch notes that it was a 50% reduction at one point. But yeah, I'm not sure where. I'll say this: I can't confirm right off the top of my head where I read it. I believe it was in the Spectrum notes, but I cannot really confirm it. But I remember Spectrum is where I remember the first time I heard about it.
Okay, because I obviously I had some Boraz, which is one of the more valuable things, and I would say I had a decent amount, but it was only worth like 14K, and I was like, I wonder how much more that would have been worth before. What was that 30K worth or what? It's kind of curious. I don't know.
Now, going on again about group gameplay, the reason I think this was not thought out is, now you've added a multi-hour time sink to mining. How do you calculate pay if you're going to play with your friends? And you can only play with your friends. Randos are now out, because how are you going to calculate their pay correctly, or tell them come back in 4 hours and I'll give you money, because after we figure out how to get on the same server together,
That's not how it works at all. That's super simple. We do, like our org, we do it that way all the time.
Org. If I joined, I'm not a part of your org. If I joined you on your crew,
you would get paid like everybody else.
But how do you okay, again, your pay is calculated based on how much money you made at the end, correct? Or you just randomly flat pay?
Well, it would be at the end, but the end would be when you sold it for cargo later. So you wouldn't get paid that day, you would get paid the next day, and you don't have to be on the same server to get paid.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, positive, 100. We pay people offline. I pay the 30K account all the time, and it's never logged in. It's not even logged into the game, let alone on the same server.
All right.
1,000% positive.
All right. Well, again, I think that this is definitely you have the experience to understand how to do that. I'm pretty sure Joe Schmo isn't going to go through all that, but I think about this. Okay, I guess
that's true.
Question
it's convoluted.
If we don't friend up, can you still do it?
Yes. All I have to do is know your name.
Okay, like the game hash or the which one? Like the Star Citizen ID hash, or
I think it's either. All I gotta do is know your name, and you're good. The handle, the in-game handle, just which you obviously know by playing with that person. So all you gotta do is write their name down. All right, man, we made 500K. Here's your 250.
All right, then I'll just be misinformed on that then.
Yeah.
So at least I'm happy they did plan.
It's not as bad, but that's not saying it's not like I have to write their name down. I have to remember how many people played with me and blah 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 blah. Right? Like it's convoluted and not perfect, but I think the fact that not only that, but they made mining certain, like the more valuable rocks to mine, I would imagine, like the Agricium, the Boraz, the Laranite, and the Quantanium, they've made them really difficult to mine, where you need to use consumables, and you may need to use your friends. But they balanced everything where, like, I spend the money on consumables in a lot of cases, or I don't spend the money, but I play with my friends and maybe I share with them,
again, I still say there's potential for issues because you're adding such a huge sink. That's all I'm saying. Because
Agreed.
again, this is not a. I mean, you can understand. Given you're saying you have all this managed, but you can't. You probably realize a lot of other people would. If you say 4 hours from now, do I remember all this stuff? Heck no. You know.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that I'm gonna do is I'll mine for a couple days, start all these jobs, and then later take them out in a cargo haul. So it's like, I don't know, it's one of those things, like, remember where, like, I have this list of things to do and I don't have enough time to do it, and I consider that a positive thing. This adds to that, like, tenfold, right? Is, all right, I'm going to keep doing my refining jobs, build up this good amount of cargo, and then go and sell it later. So, like, for us, when we get together as a group, we would usually get together on a Saturday. Now we can get together on Friday and Saturday, or Saturday and Sunday. We could do the mining one day and the hauling the next.
The other thing I also notice is that it's going to set up a huge, as far as griefers for miners, this situation, because they only put these things at the L1s on like 1 or 2 stations. I think all the L1s only have the refinery right now. I don't think
L2s have.
I don't think they do have them on L2s, because I still see the choke point potential, because when you go to an L1, you don't go to the station. You go right to the station, then you have to jump again.
Here's the thing that I agree with 100% with you, but what's even worse is that every ship that you select that isn't large goes on a pad. And you can fire in these armistice zones. So if I'm going to be landing in my prospector, it's going to take me 5 minutes to get to the refinery. If someone wants to be a jerk, they can easily blow up your ship. Why are we not prioritizing hangars for every ship first when nobody is there? Nobody's there. Nobody's in the hangar. Why am I still getting a pad as the prioritization? It's insane.
Yeah, also, if you see a big ship leaving from a pad from that station,
you know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And you could scan them and find out what's in there. And you could be like, well, that's worth this much, so give me this or you die. So, yeah. I think that's a big, big problem for me.
Because you can mantis there, and then there's no way, even if you pull a cat out of that, when the cats do come out of those few hangars there, the mantis can reach. You can't leave that ring in that cat without without getting shot at.
And no mantis is soloing. So if it was just the mantis, you could kill it in a caterpillar if you have somebody in the turret. But if it's just no mantis is soloing, so it's going to be a problem. I think that goes to
you can't pull that trigger until you're out the ring anyway. So you could be looking right at it and do nothing about it. And the minute that you could, they're all on you. They're already shooting at you before you get there.
Yeah. So far, it's been good, but I imagine that it's going to become problematic pretty quickly. All right. Well, Bad, we've had you on for a while. Is there anything else you want to add before we go to anyone else?
Yeah, my thing is, why isn't the smuggling part really been they added the other thing, but they added the Star Runner. They have the other thing. The other thing is talking about the Star Runner. Do you think it's with the consumption data runners? What would you consider it long term? An explorer or a pure data runner? Because even with the gas consumption, the way they fixed it with the workaround, it's definitely not a long-term ship. It's not a long-range ship.
I have no idea. And I guess from what they said on SCL or ISC, one of the things about that they're going to definitely do a balance pass on the fuel, I'm not really putting much thought into that. And then even more so about data running, I'm not putting any thought into that, because if you really want my opinion, it's that I don't care what it is right now. And I think it's just CIG being CIG, putting ships in game and saying, yeah, it'll be fine. This stuff will be cool when we make it. But, time and time again, they've made things and they're not necessarily that cool. And then we get upset and then we tell them and then they say, it'll be fine when we do this, that, and the other thing. And then no, it's not. And then eventually they come around to the people who are actually playing the game and say, hey, we should do these things. But I don't look at the ship as a data runner. It's a really fast cargo hauler right now, and that's all it's going to be for a really long time. So my real opinion is they continue to put ships in without their actual gameplay complete, and it becomes really problematic because people don't know what they're buying and they don't understand the long-term vision because they can't communicate their long-term vision for the entire game every single time they come on camera, make a post, sell a ship, do anything, because it would take forever, right? Because the game is so complex, big, and all these other things, and they look stupid every time because somebody's going to get upset because they can't communicate everything every time, you know?
Now, one last thing before I go, just your opinion.
Sure.
Clearly, the canopy bug is still a problem. Do you feel like of course, in the Star Citizen Live, he's like, we know exactly what the problem is and we're going to get it fixed. After this many versions of them trying to fix the problem, do you think Pride is stopping them from saying they don't know what the problem is?
I don't know why they don't just be honest a lot of times and just say, like, hey, we don't know, we're really struggling with it. Because I think if they did, I think the community would really get behind them and do a lot more testing for something like that.
That actually was a bug that started in 3.3. And so it's been that long that this has been happening.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. So I don't know. That's just kind of how I feel about it.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it. I was expecting this to be like really echo chambery, where it was like, yeah, 312's amazing. You're so right, Mike, and I'm glad you brought some reality to the conversation because I am flying pretty high right now.
I'll say this: it's nice being able to play 2 hours and actually enjoy the game and not worry about when am I going to crash? You know.
Sure. And if you do, like, is my reputation going to be lost?
Mm-hmm.
You know? So, it's a good thing. Starting, something is starting. We don't know what it is, but something is starting. All right, Bad. Thank you for your call, as always, man. I always really appreciate it. You're a great caller. Thank you, buddy.
Take care.
Bye now. All right, our next caller is Jabloka. What's up, Jab?
Hello.
How's it going?
Pretty good. Been enjoying it for a few hours now, the patch.
Oh, so you just got in today because of the going live last night?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think?
Good and bad things. A few major bugs are still in from 3.11, like the turrets on stations not spawning, which has me quite worried. The size 10s don't spawn at all, so good luck.
Yeah.
But yeah, refining is pretty cool. I'm really enjoying that. But I'm also a little bit worried because it's not 100% 30k safe because you still have to transport that material.
Of course, yeah.
So yeah, you're fucked if you 30k in between that.
But the big difference is it's the same type of materials that you would invest like 1 million credits in for like a full Caterpillar of Laranite, and now all you did was invest your time. So it's a little bit better, but still really shitty.
It's a lot better. I think it's a lot better because you don't have to invest money.
You do because of the refining process, but nowhere near as much, right? You're not investing
nowhere near as much.
You're not investing 1 million credits to make 1.3 million. Now you're investing.
And you can make that money with a few bounty missions, so that doesn't matter.
You're investing like time to make 1.3 million, which is I think is better.
Yeah. Much better. Still a little bit disappointed that cargo decks are still just JPEGs.
Yes. Okay. Like for a big negative from this patch, like I know the mission team did a ton of stuff, and like the fact that it was 310 or 39, I can't even remember when they did the initial rebalance of the delivery missions, and these didn't get any love in 312 was like kind of a huge bummer. But then when you look at the fact that like every mission giver except for Rudo has this system applied to it, and the bounty missions, it's kind of like, all right, you know, was this reputation system easier to do with those things, and now that you understand how they work, can they be more applied to things like the delivery missions and other things in the future?
Yeah, I think it's also like a core tech issue. I think they want to wait for iCache or something for the cargo decks to be a
Maybe.
thing, so you can actually store a lot of items there instead of just
Yeah, like, do
numbers.
they really have their functionality if you can't store stuff there? Like your own cargo
Yeah.
at a cargo deck?
Exactly.
It just is weird to
And-
me, the fact that you, at the cargo deck, you don't have the buy and sell terminals. I kind of find that odd.
That's I find odd. That should be maybe not easy, but a thing they could do in like 2 patches. Just move the terminals around in the station.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Further, I like that they finally added the iterates at least in the PTU for station defense. Sadly, the AI is still brain dead. That's also one of the major issues for this year. Like the AI hasn't really improved at all.
Yeah, there were massive AI, like there was like 4 or 5 AI cards on the roadmap,
Yeah.
but why ever pay attention to them if the server's still running at like, 1 minute
Yeah.
ticks? It's like insane how bad the servers are. So like expecting the AI to ever improve for us, and I imagine the AI for them is like fantastic on their like local
Have
servers.
you seen the Squadron 32 video?
Okay, fantastic in comparison to what we deal with, right?
True.
That's
They
what I
at
mean.
least respond
Obviously
a little
not
bit better.
fantastic, but yeah.
Yeah.
So then we just don't experience that, and it's always kind of like, why are you putting these cards
Yeah.
on the roadmap if we're never gonna see that improvement? It's kind of annoying.
Yeah. I like the gas clouds. They're really nice. Finally, we can actually see them in game.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they add some functionality to it next year, like radar distortions or give the Starfarer purpose
Yeah.
or something.
That's what I was about to say. Like, please give the Starfarer a purpose.
Yeah, and I'm hopeful, but also disappointed because they haven't added a major pillar this year, like at all. There's no major pillar.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, reputation
Yeah.
might be considered a pretty major pillar.
yeah, no, because I still think it's connected to the old system, the old backend, instead of, well, iCache or server stuff.
Well, it's definitely not connected to the old system because it has its own service. It can't be destroyed by a 30K. So, yeah.
Well, if you fail the mission with a 30K, you fail the mission instead of recovering your state and still having that mission.
Okay, fair enough.
So,
But
yeah.
I mean, you're aware of how things were prior, right? Like, it wasn't really saving
Yeah,
progress
I
at
know.
all.
Yeah, I know. But still, I'm hopeful. This patch seems promising, and I hope I can play it a lot, and hopefully it's a little bit stable.
Yeah. I mean, I had 230Ks in a few hours today, which was pretty bad. But overall, it's no worse than 311's been towards the end, to be honest, so.
Oh, it's much better than 310, 311,
Yeah.
3.9, to be honest. 3.8 was the best patch, I think, this year. They added the most there, I think.
3.8 was the December patch last year, right?
Yeah?
I think.
Oh, wait, 3.9 maybe. Yeah, 3.9 was big. With presence
3.9
and
was
active
the
status.
December patch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or was 3.9 in March? I have no idea. But
I don't remember.
yeah, it's tough. I think we had a really rough year. But I would ask you this. Are you feeling more positive, more excited for 2021 after seeing what they did with 312? Where for me, I did not feel excited at all through 3, 9, 10, and 11. I was kind of getting demoralized by the progress we were making this year, and then 312 kind of hit me and was like, yeah, I'm liking this.
Not for me, because the state of the game is almost exactly the same as 3.3 still. Still 50 players, still major desync issues, still like major things that need to be solved. Until we see progress in that, it's the same. for me, to be honest.
Sure. This is a good question from
Like-
chat. Has Cyberpunk's release given us a better perspective on Star Citizen?
No, because I don't like people comparing a single player game to a multiplayer game. It's way different.
No,
if
no,
Squadron
no.
42
You're not comparing
is in
that.
the state
Not
as
comparing that. Stop. The release, the state that it was released in, versus the state of the game of Star Citizen that you're playing in.
Still different. It's still an MMO. We still have to connect to other people. It's different. If Squadron 42 is in the same bracket as Cyberpunk when it releases, like full with bugs, then I can say, CIG should have done a better job. But having an MMO has an extra step of complexity, to me at least.
Yeah, I don't think you get what I'm saying though. It's that they were comfortable releasing that.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You know, that's what
Yeah.
I mean by it. It's obviously there's more complexity. I get that stuff. It's interesting to look at that and be like, oh, okay. You know, like, is CIG that bad? It kind of changes your perspective a little
all
bit
game
on it.
studios are that bad.
Yeah,
The last few years,
true.
we have had buggy games, like really buggy games.
It's true.
Fallout 76, you can name them.
Yeah, I mean, people really
So-
like kind of poop on Star Citizen for it being in the state that it's in, and the most anticipated game in years, since probably Fallout 4, the most anticipated game came out and released in that state, right?
Yeah,
Pretty wild.
it's pretty wild. And, well, most of the stuff you can see is because of the console ports.
Yep.
Because they had to downscale a lot of stuff and downscale a lot of complexity. And as far as we know, Star Citizen won't do that, and Squadron 42 won't do that.
Yeah.
So CRG doesn't have to worry about downscaling a lot of things, like processing power and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But I guess, all right, Jab, is
But-
there anything else you want to add
Yeah.
about the 312 or anything about Star Citizen before we go?
No, hopefully they can pump out a few more patches to fix a few things like the pips, and hopefully fix a few desync issues and
Yeah.
the duplication of the ore in the refining. But yeah, it should look promising. They are a lot better than last year, at least with this patch, with
Yeah.
stability-wise.
I feel like we're moving into 2021 with a much better footing on what the game will feel like and what could possibly happen next year. So for me, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Alright.
So yeah, happy Christmas, everyone, and have a nice holiday.
Yeah, man. Happy holidays, bud. Bye, Jeb. All right, moving on to Gorgon the Destroyer. Yo, what's up, dude?
What's going on, man?
Chillin'. So, did you get a chance to get in the game, Gorgon?
No, I've uninstalled.
Okay. Why?
Yeah. Well, I was playing there last quarter, and yeah, the game just hadn't, I guess, because I'll try to make sure that I portray my perspective accurately. But
Before you go, you seem to be like tapping your mic or your desk where your mic is. Maybe I hear like a little tapping in the background, kind of, and I could feel it going through the mic.
this happened last time I was on too.
Okay, well then it is what it is. No biggie.
Yeah.
Figuring if we could resolve it, we would.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, 311 at the time, like, I've been playing the game a long time, and it just hadn't progressed for the amount of time that I had been playing the game,
Sure.
considering that Chris Roberts set my expectation way back when I had started playing the game, that 3.0 will make the game closer to an early access experience than the previous tech demo experience of the 2 and 1 branches, right?
Sure. And I feel like
And I
we
still don't
probably
think that it's
hit.
gotten there.
I feel like we're probably hitting the mark of where it could have been at like 3.1 and 3.2, like now, right? It's like, all right, from a gameplay standpoint, we have like one gameplay loop that connects to another. There's FPS. It's not that horrible. It's not good, but it's not that horrible. That they have weapon zeroing, a tractor beam, mining's decent. And then now there's some level of progression. Like what we have now, I feel like based on the expectations they gave for us way back then, is what we should have had like early in the 3 patches, right? In the 3, 1, 2, 3s is kind of what he made it seem like. But I also think like you holding and anybody holding on like to what they said at that CitizenCon pre 3.0 is kind of crazy. But never forgetting that fact either is important. But I feel like
hindsight is 2020, right? Like if someone tells you something in good faith, like in the present,
yeah, I don't
like,
believe that was in
really
good faith.
To take it, right?
Of course. Like, do you believe that was in good faith? I didn't believe it was in good faith.
Did you at the time though?
No, I was standing next to a dev. I was standing next to a dev.
Hold the clip. Someone go get it.
I was standing next to a dev, and he was like, "What?" when he saw the slides.
Oh yeah.
So no, I never believed it, and I don't think it was in good faith. But I think a lot has changed since then.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's a totally different landscape nowadays.
Yeah.
Than it
So
was back then.
and that's what I'm saying. Like holding on to back then and making, like, still bringing that up now is kind of tough. Like we're past that. I don't want to ever put it away.
Oh, we're way past that. But I mean, that's what kind of like my thing is, like, that we are so far past that you think that we must have gotten close to there by now. You know what I mean? Like, whether or not that was genuine or accurate or whatever word you want to use to describe how he portrayed his expectations to set ours, how long is it going to take until we do actually get there? And 3.11, which would be the last time that I have in-game perspective on the project as far as playing it, like, relatively every day, it wasn't there, because anytime that other players show up or particle effects happen, it's still 15 FPS, and we all know exactly where that stands on the tier of video game FPS on PC in 2020.
Yeah, it's a 1 out of 10 or 0.5. But the I guess the question I would pose to you is, obviously 3.12 wasn't enough to bring you back. What would?
Well, we're going to go with that. We're going to go the Imagine route.
No,
okay.
No, not necessarily, but like at the same time, like what are your expectations?
My expectations, like personally, so if we're talking like bare minimum, like the ticket that gets me back into Star Citizen, like 30 FPS and just tighter like sync than we have now. Like just at all by like any factor, because like I haven't watched like a whole lot of footage of 3.12 PTU, but I did stop into Cutlets, and obviously I'm here now, and I just watched you play. But yeah, the AI is still completely bonkers, and I'm just like,
they just stand there and die.
On that point, like ever since they added ArcCorp. Remember when they're like, yeah, we can't possibly add any more content. Like everything would melt in the server room. And like,
they did it anyway.
We have to do this. Yeah, and they can just keep doing it, and like, that's kind of where I'm at with it, is like, it's just gotten so big, and like, it's just the glob, and just everything just kind of at 1 frame per minute. And it's just so bad, like, as like, just trying to play it as a video game experience, that I just can't, like, I can't handle it. And then everything chugs 15 frames. And then some dude's like, it's you from 2016. I hate you from Arena Commander, and griefs the fuck out of you. And it's just, I don't know.
Well, just did anything from this patch, like, at least make you go like, oh, wow, I kind of at least like that direction? The way I'm feeling?
Like, there's a couple things. Like, I mean, the gas clouds do look really, really good, but that's all I can say about that, right? Like, what else is there to say?
That's typical Star Citizen stuff. It's
everything
like, wow,
in Star Citizen looks good.
Look good.
It's a screenshot simulator, like, so, like, but it's great that it's in. That's really cool. Like, But yeah, and like the gravity gun seems like really cool, or like the new orbit attachment. But like, do the crates stay manifested in reality long enough to make any use of it?
I heard that they still disappear in 5 seconds. And it's
Yeah,
like,
I heard that
guys,
too.
like, what? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
That, you know, and like with the Talon, like the Talon's really cool. It's an alien fighter that has like mini Sukarons and like woo, but then like it doesn't ship with the shields that are like a primary feature, and like the same thing with the Star Runner 2. And like, you know, it's like there's still no data running. Like you could at least do like a text adventure, like go here, like just to like let people RP or something with it. Like for Christ's sakes, we don't need a Hackerman mini game today, you know. Like we'll just like give us a little bit. And like with the ship stuff, like you should have it done by now because you've been doing it for fucking longer than Tesla has been making actual cars, you know. Like so, like just fucking please.
Kind of a good point. That's pretty funny. When you think about that, you're like, wow, okay. Yikes.
Like, see, that's what I mean. Like, because when you talk about it in the perspective of Star Citizen, because it's very different from every other project and all this stuff, then you like think that things make sense, right? And then someone like asks you, like, but like, what about in real life when you look at like perspective, like outside of the bubble, and you're like, oh fuck, you know, like. And it sounds like more lunacy than anything. And then you look at the video game and it's like, oh, 30K. And you're like, oh, yeah, I'm not a believer anymore, dude.
Yeah, that's true. As long as that kind of stuff is there, it's always going to be torturous. But yeah. All right.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. Like the only like other thing, like, because like the missions and bounty hunting stuff.
Yeah.
That really caught my eye just today. And I don't even know what the fuck you guys are talking about with that. Like, to be quite honest, are we getting like 2016 CitizenCon demo with like Eckhart level like mission changes? Like, what's the deal there?
Yeah.
I'm just
okay. So all of the mission givers. Remember when they showed like we're talking 2016.
The moon landing demo at Levski. Yeah.
2016 ATV where they showed I think like the mission tree, remember that? Of Miles Eckhart, like, all right, if you do this mission and you fail it, then you get this mission, and if you succeed, you get this one. I feel like it's that sort of. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the Arlington gang mission, right? So now that the Idris is in,
it just leads you back into that, the go and farm them until you get to the Hammerhead, and then wish the Idris was there.
I think the Idris is there now because the Idris is in game to kill.
Oh, is it? Is the 3.8 definitely fucking Idris in, or are we like? I thought it was just for station defense. That was my understanding.
I think it's probably in for the Arlington mission. If it's in for the stations, why wouldn't it be?
But you're just making the assumption. This is not.
Sure, I haven't done it yet, but
okay.
I think it's pretty obvious.
To be 100% sure, but yeah. But in that case, then, yeah, I believe that just as much as I believed fucking SC leaks back then, that no, it's probably not in, and it's probably just station defense. But that's cool in and of itself, even though we can't board it.
On top of that,
but at least it's like an asset that's like always in the game and not just seasonally, like with the fucking Invictus and stuff. Because like that was cool, but that's like a one-time event. Now we actually have the Idris in the game as a part of the EXE that you can go and see at effectively any time, right? So I mean, that's like a big deal. You know?
Okay, so people are confirming that it's in. So
the Arlington Idris is absolutely in. Oh, okay.
But it's not working in the P2 at the moment, so it's not in. Okay, I don't know. But whatever. I think the more important thing is not those missions. It's you actually have. Okay, so as soon as you log in, you're a brand new player. The Bounty Hunters Guild messages you and says, "Hey, we've checked out your skills and we think you would work out. So we're going to give you this introductory mission to kill a very low risk target. And you actually have to pay for the entry into the guild. And if you kill that target, you get in. And then now you get the missions for the areas that you're in. So the Crusader bounties, the Hurston bounties, and the Microtech ones. And then you do a few of those very low risk target missions, and then you get the ability to get a I guess, a license to kill low risk targets, and you have to pay 1,000 to get into that. And then there's like medium risk and high risk and very high risk, and it keeps going. And the money you make is actually sort of in line with the money you would make mining, cargo hauling, like all that kind of stuff. So it brings like PvE aspects to the game that are actually worth doing.
Wait, so you're talking about...
I'm talking about PvE, but then on top of that, there's PvP missions that tie into the same system.
Oh, okay. So that's the fundamental change then. So it's not just like random shits for the players and it's like its own bespoke mission. You actually have to go and do your CS 1 through 4's like AI farming around Hurston or whatever to actually get.
Like you have to farm your ones to get your 2s.
Pay your due to get the player bounties.
Like actually gamify the fucking thing for once, right?
Yeah.
It's so much better. And then on top of that, there's the actual PvP bounty missions are tied into the same system.
Is any of this voice acted?
No.
Or is it all just text like normal?
It's still all text.
Yeah.
But obviously the mission givers are the
like,
voice acted. The mission givers is the voice acted stuff.
Right, yeah. But I mean, like, they themselves haven't really changed. They're still going to be putting out the same, like, couple bits, right?
Correct. I mean, I think there's no denying that, like, Squadron 42 and all this other shit is just holding all the fun up, and they're working with whatever crumbs they can get. You know?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a big thing, but like they've been teasing like more like stuff like that with like the attention citizens of Stanton and like that stuff. Like, so I keep thinking that they're going to start rolling out more like
dude. They put that in there like, and then nothing for an entire year. Like I'm done with that shit. I don't ever want to hear about that shit again until it's actually in the game. That drove me nuts. It's like, did we really do that? That bothered
me. Why even bother like spending the time to like tease us with these things and just never get anywhere with it? You know what I mean? Like, and like obviously people are like, "What? Well, come eventually." And I'm like, "Yeah, so will the heat death of the universe."
After nobody cares anymore.
I mean?
Like what? That was just a big debate. That was really bad.
Yeah.
But all right, man. I guess we'll let you go. I am sad that you're not enjoying the game, but I understand obviously why, because it's not an enjoyable game.
I'll be back eventually.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I mean, I say it all the time.
Like, bare minimum, like, you know, just that, like, give me console level, like, performance, like, with bugs, and then I'll be, like, somewhat, like, okay with, like, trying to actually get through these things to test the things that they actually want us to test instead of just getting completely messed up.
Yeah, I mean, I say it all the time. I don't enjoy playing the game right now. I enjoy streaming the game. Like, my stream is fun when I play Star Citizen. We all joke around. We have a good time. I think for the first time, what excited me so much about 312 is I see the opportunity to have fun on the horizon, possibly.
Yeah,
but like
my horizon's looking like 2022 plus with iCache persistence, or probably 2025 plus with the Polaris, which will be pushed back because the Perseus, I'm sure. So see you then. Buy more spaceships.
Bye. Later. All right, let's bring in Drail, our resident miner expert. Drail, how you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Can you hear me okay?
You're a little low. I'll turn you up, though.
Nice.
Because Gorgon was basically pretty loud, so I had to lower him. So let me just put your name on the screen, and then I'll get your volume up. So what's up?
Nice.
We obviously played a bit this morning. What are your initial thoughts of 312?
I'm glad they got the new grenade launcher working. That's going to be some fun.
The new grenade launcher?
Yeah, we were like beaming the grenades with those.
With
the thing.
Yep. So
I
don't know if anybody clipped it and put it on Reddit or anything. But so if you guys haven't seen this, we had a player throw a grenade on the ground. I picked it up with the tractor beam and launched it across the screen. Or you could even defend yourself with it. It lands at your feet. You could pick it up and launch it over your head. It blows up over your head and doesn't do damage to you. So
10 or
that
12
was
people
cool.
And a couple of battle lines. That'll be fun as hell.
That was cool. Yeah. Other than that, anything that excites you?
I look forward to blowing up Idris's all weekend until Christmas.
Do you really think we're going to be able to that easily? I mean, we tried pretty hard this afternoon, and it takes a whole server to do it. It feels like.
I just dig the stuff that makes people get together and try to monkey with stuff like that, though.
True. I mean, if anything, that's the current state of the Star Citizen experience. Is if you're not doing that, it's hard to have like a really good time. I think like the framework of the game just isn't that fun yet to be able to play it every day. But if you join in with your friends and it's like, yeah, jumping in together and trying to figure stuff out, that's always enjoyable. I'm never disappointed when I'm doing something like that.
Another thing is I'm digging the speed of implementation that they're putting into 3.12. I just hope that when they finally do get it live, it doesn't ruin the progress we've had, because yesterday was the first day I did 4 mining runs on my own without any equipment failures or rock fuck ups or anything, and it was
nice. Yeah, I mean, I think like there are some like weird mentions of wipes. I don't think it's gonna I don't see the point of wiping. So I don't know, man. Like, is that what you mean? Like, you really hope they don't wipe?
Well, I just hope that we don't have any new bugs with the rock or just any new mining irregularities with the new UI or anything like that.
Yeah. Okay. That's
I
fine.
do appreciate being able to see how high I am off the ground while I'm scanning rocks, though.
Yeah. The new mining UI, I'm really happy with. I mean, I know you and I do a lot of mining. I think it was really big to have the everything central, the most important information central, and then they definitely figured out like systematically what is less and less important and moved it out to the sides. I love it. I think there's some situations where it's really difficult to see your mining status, like how much power is put into it, if it's overcharging or not, but other than that, it's pretty darn strong.
I agree.
Yeah. I don't know. What about the bounty missions? Are you into that stuff or no?
I'm going to give it a taste this weekend, I think. I haven't up till now.
Okay. I mean, just the idea of reputation and progression, does that excite you?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, that's kind of why I came back.
Cool.
And I also like getting missions from Space AOC.
You're weird. Drell has a crush on Tisha Pacheco and calls her Space AOC, and it's very weird. Very weird. I'm not gonna lie, Drell, it's weird. But I think that's probably a good place to leave this. I thought the show would go about an hour, and that's about how it went today. Drell, as always, thank you for your call. I'm looking forward to playing and doing some group mining stuff together, since it's really synergized properly now. Are you going to blow up my rocks and screw up our mining operation like you usually do?
Probably. I'm getting my new sticks next week.
That's the attitude I like to hear. That's the attitude I want to hear, man. But yeah, get the sticks, put the mining thing on the proper axis, and I think you'll be fine.
Awesome. Hey, thanks, man.
Anytime, Drill. Be good, buddy. All right, that'll do it for today's show. Thank you so much for calling, for all the callers who called in. I wasn't sure how. I mean, there's really like, what do you talk about? Did we talk just about reputation? I think maybe we could have dove into that like singularly and gone into that as far as the show went today. But I really wanted to hear like everyone's overall thoughts about Star Citizen 3.12. I thought it was a very cool patch with a lot of things coming together, and I'm really excited. I hope I don't put my foot in my mouth come this going live, come 3.13, 3.14, 15, 16, because we know I don't see 4.0 in the horizon anytime soon. We just got to pray that the threes end, and we get some of that those big pillars that were mentioned that really we didn't get this year. So hopefully that stuff comes. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you are watching on Twitch and missed a part of the episode, it will be up on YouTube relatively quickly this week. If you are on YouTube and you want to stop by live while I'm on Twitch, twitch.tv/SaltEMike every day but Monday at 6:30 a.m. Eastern until about 10, 11 a.m. Eastern time. So feel free to stop by, say hello, and I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you hit a like. Leave any comments below. I want to hear what you guys think about 3.12, and make sure you hit subscribe if you're new to the channel and you are enjoying yourself. Thank you, everybody. Bye.